folks. Very good afternoon, good morning. Welcome to the session. Hope everybody's doing well. Najem, Adair, Osho, Ryan, good to see you folks. I hope you're all well. Right, let's get stuck in. Now, what we were looking at yesterday was that sort of, we spoke about that sort of recovery of stocks, and we are seeing that, and that recovery has moved higher. Now, there's a little technical pattern I want to show you here. This is called a minor break of an inside bar. Do you see here, we've had this Harami inside bar, and you see that hammer reversal? Do you see how it's threatened to go to the downside? And that was the shorts that we took initially. And once they all got sucked out, we had the initial balance form down there, and we found buyers. Now, the sort of near-term momentum is falling, but we found clear dip buys, and we're back above this trend line on the ES. And sentiment is positive. European equities, everything's been higher, and we've got earnings coming out, and we've had some good earnings from ASML. They've given some good earnings. They've beat on their top line, and Apple's pledging to boost their China cooperation, and the Bank of America has beat their earnings as well. And that's kind of in line with better than expected earnings just coming across the board. Great. So that's what we're seeing. That's boosted sentiment, and the general mood of the market is positive as we head into the open. And look at volatility, it's pushing down. We were picking up at that 23 region, and now it's trying to break underneath that 1943 region. If we get back underneath there, then that should allow equity markets to continue to move higher. Now, there's still a lot of trade tensions, a lot of uncertainty around. So these are cagey markets, and we'll have to see. But for now, right, for now, the bias is higher and the bias is upwards. So that's the sentiment that we're coming into this morning. See, there's been a general defensive move into bond markets on geopolitical concerns, global risk. That's been boosting gold prices, which continue to move significantly higher. A little tip for gold pricing is if you're ever wanting to get into a trending market, you don't know how to, using the average true range is a good tip. You just pop the ATR on the chart. You can see here $67. So if you wanted a volatility stop, because that's all the average true range is, it's basically a proxy for volatility, you would just use 2.5 times for a swing trade. So that's about $135 for your stop placement. And if you just wanted an intraday trade, 1.5 times. So that's about $100 would be your stop placement. That way you can enter. And that's really helpful if you're thinking, you know, I wanted to get into this market. And I'm not saying you should, but say you did. And you're thinking, well, hang on, the logical stop placement that I can see is back here at the 440.50. Right, and the problem with that is 186 points away from price. But actually, if you just use double the ATR, you could get away with 135 point stop. Right, so that's just a little tip to get into a trending market if you're from when you're desperate to. But having said all that, I'm waiting for gold to collapse. Right, I'm waiting for this just to sort of move lower now after such a strong bull run. But it's geopolitical concerns. Entered back into copper. Just as we didn't see that sharp sell-off yesterday that I was kind of anticipating. So I'm back into copper longs, pretty much similar to where I got out. And the Dixie, we can see that moving. False break of that sort of coiling pattern, and now doing another potential false break to the downside. So we'll have to see where we go with the dollar. I find it convincing that ING are saying the dollar bears have just stepped aside in the absence of data. Now, what's brought the dollar lower last night was Powell's comments stressing weakness in the labor market. So that tells you weakness in the labor market, dollar weakness. Okay, that's kind of that narrative is out there, but we haven't got any data. We should have been having US CPI today, we don't. So pretty miserable. And there's no clear data, there's nothing to really guide us or direct us. And you can see here euro dollar trying to push higher out of this region. You can see it's a good area here, right? In this weekly chart, trying to maybe put in a bit of support here. And you can see on the daily chart an attempt at a breakout above these highs here. So we'll have to see where we go. And you can see that this coiling action on the euro dollar is just a mirror image of what's happening in the Dixie. So for now, you know, it's dollar weakness, but let's see how we go, right? It does remain to be seen. Little short-term opportunity in the euro dollar would be just staying, you know, underneath that 1.168 swing point. As long as you stay under there, you could get a move lower down to the pivot point, but that's really just for, you know, ultra tight jobbing around. The one stock I've seen that's got my fancy for today is Forge Globe Holdings. Okay, they are a company that's involved with helping institutions and private investors get involved in initial share offerings and price offerings. And they've technically, I just really like this, bullish engulfing bar, rejecting the 100, 200 exponential moving average, the exponential moving average. And you can see on balance volume pushing high, just breaking over that trend line. So I do like that buying in at the open as long as the spread is reasonable. So Forge Holdings, and I'm maintaining my Deutsche Bank longs, which is just grinding literally sideways now, but it is holding above the 50 exponential moving average. And we are starting to see a bit of building price action now above the 50 exponential moving average, and a hammer reversal bar yesterday. Not greatly formed, but it's like an inside hammer reversal bar. So that's quite nice to maybe integrate upside. If you start taking up to the upside there, then that's all well and good. That's where we're at. Now, looking at the calendar, it's light. We've got the CPI data coming out of Cleveland, Fed CPI. Whether that moves markets or not, I really doubt it. But then we've got a series of ECB speakers, so that could influence the euro-dollar pair. But aside from that, we're just making sure that we've got headlines on and that we're hearing the data as it breaks. We've got Bank of England speaking at 4 and 4:45. Otherwise, it's mirroring. Waller is one to watch. Waller is speaking. Let me just check. I haven't got it on this calendar, but I have got Waller speaking today at 6. So watch out for Waller. He can move markets, and markets will be wanting to know what Waller's thinking about everything. So keep your eye on him. That's outside of our session. Otherwise, the sentiment is positive. On the hourly chart, we're pushed above these sellers here. Markets clearly trying to trend higher. Delta positive. First standard deviation holding. Buyers coming in, right? Trapping sellers against that area. I just want to zoom out here and have a quick look, zooming out where we're at. Yeah, we're just touching this swing low here. So we're at a natural inflection point, which is quite tricky. Just those lows, if you just look, see these lows here, that's just where we're touching. So we've moved into a big resistance level. So what we really want to see is like pushing above and over that level, and over the R1 pivot point. If we look at the chart on the daily, what do we see? Look, we've seen this initial momentum lower, haven't we? And now we're trying to push up. So when you look at how the market fell, okay, and we had more sellers coming in yesterday. So there's quite a lot of volume in sellers, but we have fallen to this support level. So we're at a really key pivot point. So we're either going to be, let's get rid of some of these arrows. I favor upside. I favor either this, like that, or we're going to have a move down, but looking for either of those two options. Now, with sentiment being positive, I'm not adverse to maybe a pullback to that value area high and then another test at that. So a pullback to the value area high and then a test at that makes sense, or just a breakout above the highs and then we're going to carry on. So I'll be happy to go with that. So that's what I'm looking for, right? And where are you wrong on the breakout? You're wrong if you go back underneath that line. Where are you wrong on this value area high if you go back into this value area and we start moving lower? So it's quite a narrow area for us to go long here, but I do like it. I think it's pretty reasonable. Let's have a little look. Yeah, I definitely, at the moment, we're still favoring buyers. Right? That makes sense. Although we just got to be careful. We're at this big zone area. Market trying to go in balance. We've got a decision area, so it could be back down here, right? And so looking to buy really either from on the breakout there or retracement there, or on the retracement down to the value area high. That would make sense. We'd need to see everything in agreement with us. So quite a nice area. That value area high is here around the VWAP. So the VWAP looks a really attractive area for buying in. Stop 6719, 6718. Stops the other side of that value area high. So that would be the area to buy in from here, which stops the other side of that little point of control from yesterday. So that's where that's suitable for buying in, basically. That's what we'll be looking at as we come into the open. And I'd be quite happy to buy this at a retracement of the VWAP around there, right? So starting to get some decent sort of price action there. I buy in at the VWAP with stops running 10 points, and I'll be using the micros for that. I think that makes sense given this dynamic, right? If you can break out, great. Otherwise, retracement down, buy in, and at least we should have at least a movement back up in that direction. That's what I anticipate, and that's what I'm looking for. So let's see, folks, right? Let's see. A lot of buyers in there. Yeah, so any area down here is just suitable for buying. So I'm just going to pop my screens up. Is anyone else looking at anything today? Anything grabbing their fancy? Any observations that people want to make that's helpful for us? Ryan, Najam, I'll show how are you looking at it? Anything standing out to you guys? Yes, nice, Najam. Yeah, that's it. We've got all these single prints, haven't we? And we're going right up to the highs here. Yeah, that's good, Ryan. It's kind of synonymous with that level, isn't it? Which gives us an extra layer of conviction there. Nice. Baker above the single prints. Najam, you got them here, haven't you? And they run up for quite a bit, don't they? Look, there's quite a little move there. So this is the hot zone, isn't it? It's really this over that R1, and that retracement area is quite hot as well. Let's just see if there's anything a bit. I want to see if there's somewhere a little bit smooth. You know what? Probably a false break of that VWAP could be nice, couldn't it? So buying from underneath that VWAP and having stops the other side of this big round number. I quite like that. That's what I like. What from last week up at that 6790? No, I think that's nice. That's good work, folks. Yeah, nice. I agree. Najam, Ryan, good observations. That's pretty sealed it for me. I'm happy to try a false break of that VWAP buying, or we're pushing above that level. There's so much confluence there. It's the single prints, it's the line in the sand, it's the R1 pivot. So this and that, or that and that. So that means at the open, just waiting and waiting. That's right. Oh dear, that's all it has to be right. Then, folks. So here's the hour. I'm going to leave it on the 15. My thesis for the start is buying a false break of that VWAP, and I'd buy that just neat, and then maybe add to it if price moves in your favor. That VWAP was a very nice structural long, wasn't it? That's just vindicating that outlook. Vindicating is the wrong word, confirming it. That was the right place to be looking for the longs. Above that high, that value area high, okay. So, right. Some heavy sellers trying to come in there, right up above those. Then I'm going to go long. If we see these sellers here getting trapped, I'll just take that as a long. Here's that 5-minute closing in 44 seconds. So on these above these sellers, and I'll go long. Okay, do we go in? Let's have a look. Nope, sellers still holding. Sellers still holding.
And US Trade Representative Greer says it took months to restore magnet flows from China.
18 seconds, 16 seconds. See if those sellers hold, that'll be important. Yeah. Get above these highs, I'll give it a quick go. Yeah, I'm gonna go long.
And more from the USTR says the scope and scale of China's new rare earth restrictions much bigger than prior magnet restrictions.
That's nice. Keep going. Okay, I've just taken that off. Just a quick scalp because I didn't get those guys trapped. So just took a quick scalp on that higher. That's fine. Take that. Yeah. I do like that. Structurally, that does look nice. Well done, Najam.